Philadelphia Eagles fans, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, I'm going to give you grades for every single one of the 10 draft picks for the Philadelphia Eagles. From 1 all the way down to the last pick in the 6th round for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's get into the video. Alright, all my Philadelphia Eagles fans, I'm really excited to break down all 10 of these prospects for you guys today. We're going to start with the last pick they made in the 6th round and work our way up to their selection in round 1, Jihaad Campbell. The first guy we're going to talk about, very exciting player, man. Off the edge, really physical guy, great at shooting gaps. Very productive, man. Stack numbers were really great. 6'3", 258, Antwaun Powell-Ryland out of Virginia Tech. ESPN gave him a 56 overall grade, 26 at the position. But he's a lot better than a 56 grade, in my opinion. Has the potential to be in the rotation, be a special teams guy right away, and kind of work his way into more playing time as he gets more and mature as a pass rusher, right? I do really like him. He had a really good year. If we take a look at some of the numbers, guys, 25 hurries, 9 hits, and 14 sacks. 24 sacks over the last 2 years out of Virginia Tech, playing some pretty good programs, right? Not the best A-plus programs in the world, but very good programs nonetheless. Definitely an outside of the tackle type of guy. More compact frame does give him some good power moves. He's got good burst, man. He's got really good hand usage too. He's really good at, like, when the offensive linemen kind of stick their hands out to reach out, of swimming them away, batting them away, jabbing them, getting some separation. Really good swipes. Very good player. I'm happy with this pick, man. To get a talent like this in the 6th round, 211 overall, pretty impressive stuff, man. I'm really excited to see what he can do. 23 years of age. Decent player, man. For this grade, I'm going to give our man Antwaun Powell-Ryland a B grade. I think it's a solid pick, good production out of a B plus type of school, right? Obviously, he's not Alabama or Georgia, but really good player, has some talent, probably more of a special teams guy right away. And, as camp goes along, if he starts to be productive, Fangio might use him in some spots, especially getting after the passer, right? I really like this pick. Solid pick. All right, Philadelphia Eagles, we had another 6th round pick, Cameron Williams, the offensive tackle from Texas. This guy's a really interesting prospect, right? He hasn't played a ton of football, right? A little bit of an inexperienced guy, but this is great for Stoutland U. Great frame, 6'6", 317. He's got really long arms. Could be a potential guy to replace Lane Johnson down the road, depending on his development, right? Really good player. He's really athletic to get to the 2nd level on his blocks. He's a really good kind of a grooming type of tackle. I like him. I don't love him, obviously, because he doesn't have a lot of experience, right? 68 overall grade. Getting a guy like that in the late 6th round is really impressive, right? And in the combine, he did say that he was nursing an injury all year long, so maybe that's why he was a little bit inconsistent, right? 67 overall grade. I do like Cameron Williams, man. I think he's a great pick. It's just a very good value pick. Howie Roseman is really good at finding value. A 70 overall graded guy in one of the last picks in the 6th round is very impressive, right? He did give up 5 sacks this year, though, right? So it doesn't come without a little bit of risk. But when you're drafting a guy this late in the process, you're okay with it. 209 overall, 6th round pick, right? And look, he didn't play at all really in 2022, barely played at all in 2023, and had about 1,000 snaps this year at right tackle, right? So pass blocking, only, right around 600 total snaps in his entire collegiate career. You're making a pick like this on what he could potentially be, not really what he is right now. He, in my opinion, is not even close to a finished product at all. I'm a fan of Cameron Williams. I'm a fan of the pick, man. I just like the pick. He's got good finisher mentality, strong grip strength, ideal arm length, great size he's going to be a right tackle. I don't think he's good enough to play left tackle, but in time, this guy, even some of the knocks, right? 1 year starter, right? He's got a lot to learn about playing offensive tackle at the highest level, right? I do like him though. He came at the combine even bigger than this at 6'6". So 6'6" in the 330s. I like this pick. I'm going to go B grade for Cameron Williams. The experience is a little concerning, but he did play at a big-ass program there in Texas, right? So he's seen some of the better players in college, right? Now we're going to move on to another selection we made in the 6th round. 6th round, 15th overall in this round. Myles Hinton, 6'7", 323-pound offensive tackle from Michigan, right? He started 20 games at right tackle and 11 games at left tackle across his 5 seasons in college, right? So he's been around the block a little bit older of a prospect, a little bit more mature, really good size. 6'6", 342. That's kind of where the Eagles are at when they draft offensive tackles. They want you to be like between 6'5" and 6'6", and 330 plus. Eagles like really, really big ass tackles. So he's played a little bit all over the place. Left tackle, played some right tackle. This is a guy who's played big programs. And I think the Eagles turned on the tape against Ohio State late in the college season, and he played incredible. 85.8 overall grade in that game. He definitely struggled a little bit early on in this season and definitely turned it on the last 4 or so weeks. Missed a little bit of time in the middle of the season from an injury. Week 6, 7, and 8, he was not active, right? So only gave up 1 sack, but at Michigan, they don't pass the ball a lot. So he has 265 passing snaps. He's a decent player. I probably like Cam Williams a little bit more, but this is a guy that, a lot of untapped potential here, right? So Myles Hinton, interesting pick here. When they made this pick, I was a little bit like, oh, that's interesting, right? So I'm going to go C+ here. I like Hinton, but he's a little bit older of a prospect. I like Cameron Williams because he's super raw, and he's got all this ability of what he can be. I think Cameron Williams will probably ultimately be a better pro. But this guy, maybe he could even slide into right guard and kind of be a road grader at the right guard position. That probably makes a little bit more sense to me. If they're going to plan on playing him at guard, maybe I move this up to a B- or a B, a guy that can swing at tackle, more of a depth piece. Okay, I do like Myles Hinton. He's decent player. Okay, next up, a pick, you got to love it. Kyle McCord in the 6th round, 5th pick in the 6th round, quarterback from Syracuse. Extremely productive at his time in Syracuse, right? Yes, he is playing at Syracuse, right? But ACC single season passing yards record, 4,779 yards in his lone season with Syracuse, right? He's a local kid, grew up in the, surrounding Philadelphia area, right? I think he went to, some school in the Westchester, Downingtown area, right? He's got what you want out of a quarterback. Strong arm, 6'3", 218 pounds. Good at getting through his progressions, Got really good arm talent, man. He can make every throw, in my opinion, in the tree. Kyle McCord had a 90 overall grade this past year. Adjusted completion percentage at 75%. Deep yards, 2nd in college football, over 1,200 deep yards. But he was also slinging it in the short game, 10th in overall screen yards. I mean, he's just a pretty complete guy when you look at what he can do. The no pressure grade at 90, pressure grade still in the 70s. Most quarterbacks in this draft class, the pressure grade is in the 50s, right? He could be a potential steal. Really good at throwing the deep ball. About average at throwing the intermediate routes. That's kind of the knock on him, I would say. But 4,700 yards, 34 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. The one number that's a little bit concerning, he has regressed 3 years in a row passer rating wise, but I'm not super concerned about that because in this first year, he didn't really play that much, 6 games, only threw the ball 20 times. But these last 2 years, about the same numbers, right? When you look at it, 58 touchdowns over the last 2 years. You're talking, right around 8,000 yards. Very, very impressive guy. I think people like Kyle McCord. People are comparing him to Brock Purdy, which is really interesting. He's a good competitor, solid touch, like I said before. He's got good throwing mechanics. Like when you look at the fundamentals of what makes a quarterback being able to throw accurately and throw on time and throw people open, Kyle McCord can really do all those things, right? So I like this pick. For me, this is an A grade, absolutely, at 181 overall. The quarterbacks going earlier, I think I like Kyle McCord better than I like Dylan Gabriel, who went in, the 4th round, 3rd round, or whatever, to the Browns. All right, Philadelphia Eagles fans, we're going to move on to our 5th round picks. One of my favorite players that the Eagles got, center Drew Kendall from Boston College, 6'4", 308. Started 37 games at center. His father played in the NFL for 13 years, so he's got really good pedigree. Second fastest short shuttle time for offensive linemen at the combine. Extremely athletic. Definitely has a little bit of Jason Kelce in him. Can get to the next level. Can pull all over the place. Really talented player. 3rd in position rank for centers. You got to love that. Just give some depth at this position, right? I really like that. 78.8 overall grade. Only gave up 1 sack all year long. Excellent pass block grade. Really good. All over the place, gap grade, zone grade, you name it. Just a really talented player, man. And they did re-sign Cam Jurgens to an extension, right? But having depth at a place like center is really, really important for the way this Eagles offense functions. I like Drew Kendall. I think he's got really high ceiling, right? I think he's got a lot of potential. I love his athleticism, right? So I'm going to go A- grade there, right? I really like him. The Eagles did trade back a lot in this draft, right? They traded down from their 3rd round pick. A lot of movement up and down the draft board. Getting the 3rd best center in this draft at 168 overall is pretty damn impressive in my opinion. I like Drew Kendall. I think he's a talented guy. Next up, we got another product from Georgia, Smael Mondon Jr., the linebacker, 6'2", 224, a little bit undersized. I see this guy playing more as a huge special teams role. I think he's really talented, though. I think he's super athletic. 201 tackles, 16.5 tackles for a loss, and 7 sacks in 3 collegiate seasons. He was in a really talented rotation there at Georgia, right? He's a good player, man. Is he going to be a starter? Probably not, in my opinion. I think he's a decent player, 441 snaps this year, right? Played a little bit all over the place. D-line, the slot, in the box. Played all over the place. Pretty good player. Not my favorite guy in the world, if I'm being completely honest, at 161 overall. I think there are some better players, but he's got some upside to him if he could figure it out. I don't know if I love his size at 225. But he's very athletic, strong tackler, good player. I'm going to go B- overall grade. I just liked some guys better at this point in the draft. Okay, next up, we have another 5th round pick from UCF, Mac McWilliams. ESPN did not like this player at all, giving him a 40 overall grade. Not great, especially the position rank outside of the top 25. Not really. This kind of confused me, this pick, for sure. I didn't love it. We'll see how he looks in camp. 5'10", 191. He's got good speed, 4.41. So definitely on the smaller size with the shorter arms. That's why I don't know how he projects at the NFL level, right? Maybe he plays a little bit more in the slot. I don't know if he's an outside corner, but PFF liked him a lot more than ESPN. So there's some people that like him and some people that don't like him. That's pretty typical for a guy getting selected in the 5th round. 81 overall grade this year in 11 games. 1 interception, gave up 2 touchdowns, and a 69.3 passer rating against. Considerably better from the year before at 116. So that, 116, that's pretty high. And the Eagles like him. They're in a zone-heavy scheme. Where's this guy really exceptional? Zone coverage grade in the 80s. Man coverage grade's not too bad either at 72.5. Smaller guy, 5'10", 185. I don't think he's big enough to be an outside corner in the NFL. Maybe you plug him in at slot and eventually move Cooper DeJean back to safety. That could be interesting, but we'll have to see. 5'10", 185. He's got good quickness. The processing is there, Definitely a smaller guy, He's got good toughness too. I think that's why the Eagles like him. ESPN did not like him. We'll see. I think he's more of a slot guy at the NFL level. This is one of my least favorite picks by the Philadelphia Eagles. I thought there was, a better places to get corners without trading back. C+ grade. We'll see. We'll see how he plays out. I think they really hit home runs with Kendall and McCord, and I like the last 2 picks too. I'm actually going to bump up the Cameron Williams grade to B+, because I think he's got some serious potential, man. I really, really do. Okay, now we're going to move on to our only 4th round selection, a guy I really, really like, Ty Robinson. 6'5", 288, can maybe be that Milton Williams role. 74 overall grade from ESPN. I like myself some Ty Robinson. He's a very high character guy too. Super athletic. Plays with an enigmatic energy, right? It's just like it consumes you. I'm excited about him. He had the fastest 40-yard dash for D tackles at 4.83. Very, very impressive. Very impressive, man. Second best broad jump. He's just super athletic. 4th best vert. He's just extremely, extremely athletic. He shoots gaps really, really well. He tracks quarterbacks really well. Got those active hands. He can do a little bit of everything on the D-line, man. I think he can stop the run. I think he can rush the passer. A guy, I think the Eagles got to steal. The knock on him probably, he's only had 1 real good productive year in college, right? 75 overall grade this year, 6 sacks. Jumped up huge. The production really, really accelerated this past season, right? Pass rush win rate over 10% for D tackles is pretty damn good. Run stop rate at 8%, pretty damn good too. Almost an 80 overall grade at getting after the passer. And the Eagles don't like to blitz. So these D linemen really got to get after the quarterback. That's what Ty Robinson can do. 6'6", around 300 pounds. That body weight's kind of fluctuating a little bit. It says 288. I expect him to put that size back on. Probably lost a little bit of weight to test well. Players tend to do that. Okay, now let's get to these top 2 picks, guys. I'm really excited to break down them for you. Andrew Mukuba, the safety from Texas. OMG. This dude lays the freaking wood, man. If you watch the tape, he hits like a linebacker, dude. He cracks people and they explode. It's really, really remarkable. Because he's not the biggest guy in the world, right? Mukuba is so talented. 6 foot, about 190 pounds. The numbers are a little bit, skewed. Here he's 5'11", 186. What is he really? Probably in that 5'11", 185 to 195 range. That's probably what he's going to be walking around at when camp starts. But, man, he can play free safety. He can play nickel. I think he can play strong safety, too, because he hits really, really freaking hard. Ran a 4.45 at the combine. Pretty decent speed. I think he's fast enough to man-to-man with the tight ends, and he hits freaking hard, man. He tied for the SEC lead in interceptions with 5 in 2024. He's a downhill guy. He can attack the run game. Solid tackler, man. Really blows people up. It's very, very freaking impressive, man. I think he's just kind of getting to the point where he's getting comfortable with his body, and I think we're just touching the surface on his potential, man. I really like Mukuba. I think he's an excellent player. I'm a big fan, man. I turned on the tape last night, and I was like, I watched a little bit of his tape. I didn't dive too deep in him, being honest, during the draft process, but I rewatched it again, and man, he could lay the freaking wood. Missed tackle rate's a little high for me, so he's got to get that ability to crack people under control a little bit, wrap up, finish tackles, but man, force incompletion rate over 25%, top of the class. The dude lays the freaking wood. Passer rating allowed, 12.1. That's fourth best in the nation, right? The dude just straight up lays the wood. No touchdowns allowed, 5 interceptions, man. That's as good as it gets in college football, guys. Woo! Played in the slot, played in the box, played deep. He's just a guy who's going to bring his lunch pail to work, and wherever you want me to play, coach, I'll do it. You want me to play free? You want me to play strong? You want me to come up, stop the run in the slot? I can do that too. Mukuba is a great pick. One of my favorite players in this draft. Ty Robinson, A- grade. I like that play. Really good value. Andrew Mukuba, that's an A grade for me, man. I think he really upgrades the safety room. His ability to get coached up, played at a big program. I think those missed tackle rates will come down once he gets under control a little bit. Fangio is going to make sure he's not missing tackles, right? He could play free safety. He could play strong safety. I think he could play in the slot too, man. Under 4.5 speed, excellent player. I love Andrew Mukuba. What a great pick. All right, Philadelphia Eagles fans, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out while we break down all these Eagles draft picks. Number 1 pick for the Eagles, moving up 1 spot, Jihaad Campbell, baby. I think most people had Jihaad Campbell in their top 15. The Eagles get him at 31. Exceptional value for a guy who's very versatile. He could play off-ball linebacker. He could even play outside linebacker. He's that freaking talented. He tracks the ball really well. He's able to shoot those gaps, come up, and be effective in the run game. I love Jihaad Campbell. Very, very competitive guy, man. Breaks on the ball really well. Everything you want out of a linebacker, a creative player linebacker, that Brian Urlacher type of guy. I know that's a lofty comparison, but I'm telling you, at 6'3", 244 pounds, he's big enough to be impactful in the run game, get after people in the pass game, and rush the passer if you need him to, right? He does everything well. Coverage grade 80, run defense grade 81, pass rush grade 76, 81.6 overall grade. I love him. Coverage stops, first in the nation. Run stops, top 50 in the nation. He's just as good as it gets, guys. He really is that good. Him and Zach Bond, good luck. Good luck opposing offenses against the Philadelphia Eagles. I love Jihaad Campbell. This is an exceptional pick here, man. Such great value. A+ grade. All right, guys, let's break down these grades for all of you right now. 2025 Philadelphia Eagles grades. Overall, I'm giving the Eagles an A- overall grade for this draft. There's some spots where I shook my head a little bit, mainly these 2 5th-round picks, but they're 5th-round picks, right? Just depth, guys. I think they did exceptionally well. I think they drafted way better in the 6th round than they did in the 5th round. That's just my opinion, though. Powell-Ryland, I like. Cam Williams has some serious upside. Myles Hinton, I like him. I don't love him. Probably more of a guard. And then Kyle McCord, excellent depth at the quarterback position. Great value there. Drew Kendall, exceptionally athletic. Reminds me a lot of a little bit bigger of a size Jason Kelce, right? Very athletic. Super fundamentally sound. I like him. And then Mondon Jr., the linebacker, I think he's more of a special teams guy in that Jeremiah Trotter kind of wing. Can play in a pinch. Not a great player, but a good player. And then Mac McWilliams, my least favorite pick by the Eagles. Maybe he can prove me wrong. More of a slot guy. I think the Eagles needed to get another outside corner. That's why they get the A- grade as opposed to an A or an A+. And then Ty Robinson, another guy. Freak of nature. I think he could really compete for playing time this year at number 111 overall. And Mukuba and Campbell, excellent picks. Andrew Mukuba has a couple flaws in his game, like the missed tackle rate being over 14%, but it's worth it because he's going to force turnovers. 5 interceptions this year, no touchdowns given up. Extremely impressive, man. He's going to be a ball hawk in the middle of that defense, and I love that. And Jihaad Campbell, might be the steal of the first round. It's up there. Definitely one of the top 3 picks, risk to reward and value-wise in the first round, in my opinion. All right, guys, Philadelphia Eagles get an A-. Let me know your thoughts on their draft in the comments down below. Thanks again. Peace.